Today is August 16th. My name is Melissa Ackerman, and I will be interviewing Lisa Brodsky in Dallas, Texas. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can you tell me a little bit about your family, your parents, and grandparents?
Sure. My parents, actually, I'm the first generation American in my family. My parents were both born in Winnipeg, Canada, and they came to Canada through their family, which was in Russia. And their families really intended to come to the United States, but they couldn't get in, so they ended up in Canada. My grandmother used to tell me this story that when she was 9, so this was in 1920, she came over on a boat from Russia, and her dad was already in Winnipeg, and he was a bricklayer. And just coming over on the ship was just very traumatic, and they ended up settling in Winnipeg, and my mom and dad actually knew each other in Winnipeg, but they didn't like each other. And so when my dad was 15, his family moved to LA. And when my mom was 21, she moved to LA and reconnected with my dad. He had a Winnipeg party, and they met again, and they fell in love and got married and had my brother and I. I was born in North Hollywood, California in 1966. And my brother Robert was born in 1968. We lived in a suburb of LA at the time called Simi Valley. And my dad was a salesman, and he was really a great salesman. He was so good that he sold musical instruments, and he was tone deaf. So he didn't even have to play the instruments. He was able to sell them. So in 1974, he was transferred to Dallas, and we moved into North Dallas, and my mom and dad wanted us to go to Richardson schools. And I started 3rd grade at Bowie Elementary, and my mom still lives in the same house. It'll be 50 years in September.
What high school did you graduate from?
I went to J.J. Pierce High School.
And so your father was transferred here with the same company?
Yeah, a different job, a different sales job, yeah. And my brother and my brother was 6 and I was 8, and he ended up going to J.J. Pierce and UT, and moving back to California, and he's been back for a long, long time now.
What part of California does he live?
He lives in Palo Alto.
That's very nice. Do you get to go out there very often?
I do. In fact, I was just, he has a house in Napa too, and I was just out there about 3 weeks ago. So it's really, really nice.
What was your maiden name?
Krolik.
Okay.
Lisa Krolik.
Okay. And did you have any other family relatives here that moved to Dallas?
No, we were the only ones, and there was very few of us in the United States. Most of my family is actually still in Canada. I do have an uncle, my dad's brother, that lives in Sarasota, but most of my family is still in Canada.
You get up to see them very often?
Not very often, no. Especially with COVID, and last couple of years I haven't been. But my daughter, actually, I'll get to her in a second. She travels 1 week a month, and she's actually going to Winnipeg next month, so she'll get to see meet my family.
Oh, meet some of them for the first time?
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? What kind of things did you like to do for fun when you were growing up?
When I came to Dallas, I was 8 years old. I was really shy, and so my parents got me into soccer, and that really helped kind of bring me out. And it turned out I was pretty good at it, and I played for about another 8 years. I played select and got a lot of neat friends and coaches that I met along the way, and developed my social group. I played softball as well. I went to Green Family Camp a couple of years. My brother actually went to kindergarten here at the JCC when it was the Julia Sheb's Community Center, and I can't remember her name. Judy Goodman was his kindergarten teacher. So
where did you end up going to college?
I ended up going to Arizona State in Tempe. most of my friends were all going to UT, like my brother did. And I really wanted to get away and do something different. And I really was thinking, even when I was 17, 18 years old, I wanted to go into a helping profession, like social work. So they had a really good bachelor's of social work school at Tempe. And I went out, and I knew one person. The one person I know happens to be a city council woman now in Dallas. We actually were going to room together, Kara Mendelson. And we ended up both pledging sororities and ended up not living together, but we still are friends today. So I ended up pledging Tri-Delt. And that was a great opportunity for me to develop my leadership skills that I still use today. I was very involved in the sorority. We went to a lot of trips to California. It was just right there. It was my college years were a really great experience. Getting away and kind of forging my own path for myself.
When you were growing up, did your family belong to a congregation?
Yeah, I grew up at Temple Shalom. Actually, my brother was bar mitzvah there. I was not bar mitzvah, but my brother was bar mitzvah there. And we're members. I've been a member. We've been a member for years. My kids were bar mitzvah there.
Were you confirmed or bat mitzvah?
Yeah, I was confirmed, but not bat mitzvah.
Mm-hmm. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your children?
Sure. Well, right now I've been married to my wife Beth. We've been married 5 years. We've been together 19. I was married previously to my kid's dad. So my son Daniel was born in 1996, and he just turned 27. And my daughter Nicole was born in 1998, and she's 24. And they both grew up in Plano. We lived in Plano for 24 years. They graduated from Plano Senior High. Daniel was a big skateboard dude, his young life. And Nicole was really into gymnastics and soccer. Both of them grew up here at the JCC. I worked here from 1990 to 2004, which we could talk about in a second.
We will.
So the kids grew up preschool here. Daniel went to kindergarten here, Camp High when we were at the ranch. Nicole did gymnastics camp. Nicole was a camp counselor for Camp High for one summer. So the kids really grew up here at the J, and it was a great experience for them. Daniel ended up going to school at University of Texas in Dallas, and he has a information systems and technology degree, and he actually met his wife at college when he was a freshman, Brooke, and they were married in July of 2020. And Daniel, as of right now, has been at the same job he started with when he was, right out of college, with a data analytic company. He also owns 2 skateboard shops, one in Fairview, which is in outside of Plano, and it's called The Point. And they have just a wonderful selection of clothes and equipment, and they also have a bowl, like a 1,500 square foot bowl in their shop that people can take lessons and skate. And they opened up another shop a couple years ago, almost 5 years ago now, in Deep Ellum. And so they have the same layout there. So he somehow manages to run the shops and his job and his family. And about 14 months ago, my little granddaughter was born, Sloan Morgan Brodsky. And she's the light of my life, and she's incredibly precious, and I try to see her and them as much as I can. Nicole went to OU, University of Oklahoma, and her degree is in marketing, and she has a minor in nonprofit management, trying to take after me a little bit. She really has done Birthright. She's been to Spain with Olami, which is a singles program here. She went to March in the Living. She's really involved in Israel and being Jewish here on the ground in Dallas. When she graduated, she got a job at Fast Signs, the corporate office here in Dallas. and she's a marketing services manager, and she really likes her job. She's been there for 2 years now, and that's my kids. And Beth and I moved in 2017 from Plano to near White Rock Lake. We have a house there, and we love being empty nesters. And we bought a lake house in 2019 outside of Tyler in at Lake Palestine, and we just love it there. We love having our friends and our family there as much as possible. It's just beautiful. It's really my peace, my happy place is at our lake house. So.
That's great. So after you finished college in Arizona, what did you do?
So my parents said to me, because when you have a bachelor's of social work, you really need a master's to really do anything or make any money. So they said to me, well, you have 2 choices. Either you can stay in Arizona and get your master's degree and work and put yourself through school, or you can come back home and live with us and we'll pay for your schooling at University of Texas at Arlington. So I chose to come back, and I lived with them for 2 years while I went and got my master's degree. During that time, I interned at the Federation. I was a director of planning and allocations intern at the time. I met a lot of great people. At that time, I met Karen Stern, who ended up, she was the executive director of the JCC and ended up hiring me after I graduated graduate school. And then during one of those summers, like I think it was '89, I took 45 16-year-olds to Israel as part of the teen tour with Mark Shore and Melanie Rubin. And we had a great 6 weeks with those kids. It was a great adventure. It was the first time I've been to Israel. And I think I've been there probably 16 or 17 times since then, just with work over the years, getting the opportunity to go through the Federation of the JCC. So in 1990, I graduated, and I started at the Jewish Community Center as a singles director.
And how long did you do that, and what else did you end up doing?
So we kind of revamped the singles department. It was called The Group at the time, and we changed the name to Innovations, and I got all my friends to be on committees and kind of reimagine it. And at the time, there was some grant money available at the Federation, and what I thought would be really great was to develop some sort of a dating service. And so with lots of research and with some grant money, we developed a program called Profiles. And it was a great program. It was before really the internet or JDate, and people would come to the JCC and they'd fill out a profile, just a form about themselves, and it was all confidential. And they came and looked at binders of other people, and we would match them. And I had a friend of mine who was a software developer, and he made the software so that we could communicate with everyone. And it's kind of fun because every now and then I run into somebody over the years that met through Profiles and has kids and now grandkids. So it was a really great program for a couple of years, and then JDate was formed, and so we kind of went out of business. So I did that for I was singles director for 3 or 4 years. We had a really great program that I remember called the Bachelor-Bachelorette Auction, and the fun thing about that was that Mark Cuban was a bachelor. And it was at the Infomart, and I don't know if people remember Jerry Orr. He was a sportscaster on Channel 8, and he was the MC. It was just such a wonderful program. It was really a great program. And so I did that for a couple years, and then I became the adult director doing adult programs and education. And in 1994, I believe it was, 95, we brought the Florence Milton Adult Mini School to Dallas. And that was an exciting opportunity for us to bring learning and education to and teach it in a pluralistic way so everybody would feel comfortable. And we were able to get the area rabbis to participate, and Deborah Polsky was a teacher, Janie Schultz, Laura Seymour. It was a great bunch of people. And we did that for a couple of years, and then we They had a graduate program, and it's still going today in some form or fashion. There's still Melton Mini School classes after all that time, so that's exciting. And then the rest of the time, I spent 14 years at the Jewish Community Center. It was really where I grew up. And I worked in the senior department, I worked in education, adult programming. The only thing that I didn't do was part of the PE department, the phys ed department, or preschool. I think I did pretty much everything else.
Had you been members of the JCC when you were growing up?
No, well, I guess we were because my brother went to kindergarten here, so I guess we were. But I don't remember participating in any camps or anything while I was growing up at the JCC. But I was a really big participant in BBYO. I was in Sally Blum BBG. I was a nom for David Berger AZA, and the friends that I have from BBYO are still my friends today. So that was a great experience. I left that part out.
Okay, so what did you do after you left the J?
So in 2004, probably people remember that the J was kind of going through some financial troubles, and they laid several of us off. And so I really felt lost. I didn't know what I was going to do because I had spent so much of my life here at the JCC. And so I ended up getting a job as the Director of Programs and Services at the Alzheimer's Association, which was a great learning experience. I had a staff of about 12, and we really made some impact on how, we helped caregivers, we taught classes in nursing homes to staff, to families, all that, we did that. So the lights just went out, so I don't know if they're on a timer, but anyway, are we good still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I did that for 5 years, and then I was able to get an opportunity, which no social worker ever had, is to go to work for a startup company. I had met these two gentlemen that had created a device, a watch-like device similar to this, that could actually find people that had wandered off with Alzheimer's, or children who have Down syndrome or autism. And basically, there was a type of program where you would set off the watch and it would triangulate with the cell towers and be able to find your location. It was just a great device, great opportunity. And I think, looking back, it was probably a little ahead of its time. And so I did that for 1.5 years, and then the company kind of dissolved. And then I went for a short time to work at AT&T, the AT&T Foundation, raising, giving out their billions of dollars, which was really fun. I only did that for about 1 year, and then I got a phone call from the Jewish Federation where they wanted me to come back to the Jewish community, which I was really happy to do. They wanted me to be the Director of Planning and Allocations at the Federation, which is kind of coming full circle because when I was an intern as a graduate student, that's where I interned. So I did that for about 1.5 years, and it was really great coming back. And then HI called, Community Homes for Adults, in 2013. And I interviewed with the search committee, and I've been, in the next 2 days will be 10 years I've been at HI.
And tell me a little bit about HI.
So HI is the love of my life. I really think and believe that all the jobs that I had in the Jewish community, even the ones, the shorter jobs that I had outside the community, really helped me become the leader the opportunity for me to become the CEO of HI. Because I think having the support of the Jewish community, having the knowledge of the Jewish community, all really helped me, enabled me to become the CEO there. So when I first started, I think people would characterize HI as more of a mom and pop. There was about $1.8 million budget, and I think what they really wanted me to do is bring it to the next level and really turn it into more of a business and to grow the agency.
What does the agency do? What population does it serve?
So Community Homes for Adults just celebrated 40 years. We started in 1983. And really it's the vision of our founder, Carmen Miller-Michael, who had a daughter with an intellectual disability, which means that the folks that have intellectual disability have a lower IQ, and sometimes they need help with just activities of daily living. They couldn't live on their own. And so she came to the Federation and asked them if she can get some funding to start some group homes for people like her daughter. And they did a feasibility study, actually at UTA in Arlington, and decided, yes, it would be a great endeavor. There would be enough Jewish adults to fill some group homes. So her parents actually donated the first home, which we still have today. It's on Royal and Webb's Chapel, called Miller 1 and Miller 2. It's a duplex. And basically we provide housing and support and the basic needs for those that live with us. And our mission is really to enable adults with intellectually to live a meaningful life. And that sounds simple, but it's quite complicated, because we want to make sure that we are providing a meaningful life for them, whatever they feel is meaningful. So whether it's helping them with finding a job or volunteer activities, or helping them with their hygiene, or making sure they're eating right, or making sure they're participating in the community, and having good relationship with their families. I think that's something that we've provided for folks for 40 years. And so starting out with that one duplex, here we are 40 years later. We have 9 group homes with 31 people that live in them. And it ranges from age, the youngest is 27, all the way up to the early 70s. And so we have about 60 staff. We take care of our folks 24/7. We provide transportation. And I think there's many important things about High, but I think for this purpose today is that the community, the Jewish community, has really been unbelievable, providing activities and support to High, either through our donor base, or the synagogues, or BBYO, or Hadassah, or NCJW. All these groups come and want to participate and work with us to provide meaning for our residents.
Do you still have a lot of Jewish residents?
Yeah, right now about 70% of our residents are Jewish, but the majority of our folks receive Medicaid from the state, so we have to be real careful. We can't discriminate. We can't turn down somebody that's not Jewish, but we do our best to keep a majority of Jewish residents. We do have residents that are, as I said, not Jewish, and they do attend church, and we facilitate that and make that happen for them as well.
You celebrate holidays?
We celebrate all of the Jewish holidays. We have a lot of fun with the synagogues. They come in and do holidays for us, participate gift giving during Hanukkah, doing Purim, Sukkot, and the synagogues offer us free tickets for the High holidays. So it's a great partnership that it's very important to High and who we are today.
What are some of the most proud moments that you've had working at High?
Well, I can give you a couple examples. One is more of an individual example, then I'll give you more of a general example. We had a young gentleman, he was like 20 years old, that came to live with us about 5 or 6 years ago, and his activities of daily living skills were very weak, and he wasn't really knowing how to take care of himself at all. And we were able to teach him skills from, bathroom and toileting skills, to his hygiene, to dressing, to his communication. And now he's doing great. He's thriving, and he's a member of the community, and he goes to volunteer, and he works. And I think that is probably one of my most exciting stories, is taking somebody who didn't have a whole lot of skills, and now they live their best life. Another example is, I think, getting us through COVID, I think was a very difficult journey, having people live in congregate living and trying to keep everybody safe. I think going through COVID took years off of my life, because we worked, all of our staff pretty much worked 24/7 for 2 years. But we came out of it, and we came out of it stronger, and we were very our residents, we found, are very resilient, and they did outstanding. Our board participated in providing meals and being involved on a weekly basis. And I think that's another strength of High is our board and the people that support us. If you come to our office, you can see on our wall in our boardroom all the amazing people in this community that have been a president of High. And the members that we have on our board over the 10 years, at least that I've been here, have been unbelievable workers and strong advocates for our organization. And without the board, I think we'd be in a different place, especially now knowing that through COVID. So I think that when you're taking care of somebody with an intellectual disability, they also mostly have a mental health diagnosis as well. So there's some risks there, and I think what we strive to do at High is to have a large heart and take care of our residents with kindness and respect.
One last question about High, then we're going to move to another topic. Do you anticipate growing in the next few years?
Well, we just completed a year-long strategic planning process. We hired a consultant, and we're actually about to vote on our strategic plan at the end of this month. And part of the plan is to increase our group homes by 2 in the next 5 years. We're also looking at a semi-independent model. We have a lot of people, in order to qualify to come and live with High, you have to have an IQ of 75 or below. There's a lot of people in our community that have a higher IQ but could never live by themselves. So we're looking at researching opportunities in apartment living for them with our support. So we're looking at that, and we're going to be developing some information referral type programs. So and then opening up these 2 group homes and hiring some more staff. We're going to be hiring a trainer that trains our staff specifically, because it's really important to develop a kind and respectful culture and teach our staff high values of what we want them to know. So we're going to be doing that, and we're going to be hiring some more development staff, because we're going to need to raise more money for all these programs we're going to be doing. So we have a very robust strategic plan that we're going to be starting in November, and I'm really excited about it. We did a lot of surveying, we did a lot of focus groups, we did a lot of research around the country, and I think this plan is going to really help us take us to next.
It's exciting. Okay, on a little different track now. What was Dallas like during your childhood?
I think Dallas was a great place to grow up. It was very welcoming when we moved here when I was little. You know, it was nothing like, of course it is today, nothing built up. Most of our meals were spent at home, not eating out. We had a close-knit group of friends through the synagogue and through, my soccer. I have really good memories here. My brother and I going to take our bikes every day and exploring. I mean, where I live at Hillcrest and, say, Campbell, there was nothing north of Campbell. So we would take our bikes and we would ride around and explore, and I remember it's just a very comfortable place to grow up.
The Dallas Jewish community how has it changed over the years?
Well, it's grown tremendously. I think, we were just mostly isolated at Temple Shalom, so that was our environment. I really wasn't aware at that time of a broader community until I joined BBYO. And then I had, so many friends who lived all over Dallas and went to all different schools. Because I mostly stuck with, people that went to my school at J.J. Pierce, but when I became involved in BBYO, it just opened up a whole new world for me. Went to conventions and conferences and met new people all around Dallas.
Did you have some leadership roles when you were in BBYO?
Yeah, I did. I was a leader at, I was a MITMOM and Sally Blum, and held some other leadership roles I really can't remember. But I enjoyed that very much. I really did. Enjoyed the people.
So do you have any role models?
I do. I have several. I think what's important to me while I was growing up is to have female strong role models. Karen Stern, who was the executive director of the JCC, who really helped me, beginning my career, was always a role model. Even as I was interviewing for the high job 10 years ago, I was sitting at her kitchen table doing mock interviews. There's a woman, Molly Bogan, who used to be the executive director of the Senior Source for 40 years. She was a great role model for me. And then, even wonderful people like Rena Silverberg. Her and I went to graduate school together. She became the interim director of Jewish Family Service, involved in her community always. Yvette Hogue, Janice Gale. I mean, these people helped me grow and be the person I am today. And so I think those strong women really set the stage for me and helped me grow. And my goal is to do that for others. And I've already started to mentor young women who are in the nonprofit career, the nonprofit track, including my daughter, who's not on the nonprofit track, but she's a Jewish young adult who might need some guidance. But I take that role very seriously because it really helped me as I was making my journey and just, becoming who I was as a Jewish communal worker and as a young woman.
Great. Tell me about your family today. Are your parents still around?
My dad passed away about 21 years ago. My mom is going to be 85 in January. She still lives in the home that I grew up in North Dallas. She plays bridge twice a week, one day a week at the Legacy Midtown Park. She loves, she has a bunch of plants in her backyard, and it's her hobby. She waters them, and she keeps busy that way. Keeping track of all of us is a chore as well. My brother comes in often, to be with us. We go to see him. My family, I think the most important thing to me is my family and getting together for holidays. We've used the lake house a lot, especially, during COVID, I want my granddaughter to grow up learning to water ski and being, maybe a champion water skier. And just having that family time at our lake and having my nieces and nephew come in. And it's just really important to me. I think that just the basics, COVID was a huge lesson. And I think just the basics of everybody being healthy and being together, it's really simple, but it's super important to me.
And you celebrate holidays together?
Yes.
How do you celebrate? Do you have any special traditions that your family does?
Hanukkah, we used to, before COVID, we used to have all of our friends and family over for one of the nights of Hanukkah and make, non-Jewish friends and make latkes and matzo ball soup and the whole thing. Well, it's kind of toned down. So we just have us, which is our family has grown too. So we have the tradition, and we always invite new people to make latkes. And we've learned in the last couple of years is the best place to make latkes is really outside. Because the smell and the grease, so we have these big skillets and we plug them into extension cords outside and have drinks and make latkes over the skillets outside. And it's really becoming a fun tradition, and I'm excited for my granddaughter to be a part of that. Of course, we do Passover. We've done Passover with the Caners, Janet and Gary Kaner for years and years and years. They've always been friends with my parents. And then the high holidays, that kind of changes from year to year. Hanukkah's our big thing with our big family, so.
That's great. Are there any other things you'd like to talk about? Anything you'd like to add?
No, I don't think so. I guess I'm just really grateful to the Jewish community for giving me the skills and the resources that I need to run this agency that I've been a part of now for 10 years. And I just feel like the community has really helped me grow and taught me so much, and I'm really grateful and thankful. And I think I've passed that on to my children, where I teach them that, you never burn a bridge, and it's all about building relationships. You never destroy a relationship because you never know. You always be kind and respectful. And I think I learned that working here at the JCC and at the Federation, and now I try to teach that at High. So I'm grateful.
We're grateful for you being in the community and for all you do.
So
Thank you so much.
Thank you.